So let's go ahead. We discussed a lot in previous sessions. People wanted to kind of go through all the tools which are there in Alteryx, a kind of brief introduction and uses of that. So though I shared this PDF document with everyone, but let's go through and one by one we can talk about these tools. So over here, whatever tools we are going to cover, right? So there is some changes you will find in the tools in case you have a different version or other than these versions, right? So over here, like the browse tool, so it is only to see the output of a particular tool. So it says you can add one or more points in your data stream to review and verify your data, right? It is only for the developers so that they can see the result on the screen. Then filter. So this filter provides you two outputs, basically one for the true conditions and another for the false conditions. So you can see query records based on the expression to split data into two streams. It will always provide you two outputs. True records that satisfy the condition or expression, and false, those do not satisfy the condition or expressions. Then formula. Formula is kind of, let's say you want to add new column or you want to create a new calculated field, or maybe you want to kind of do some calculations, create or update fields using one or more expression to perform a broad variety of calculations and operations. So like we want to add new calculated field or new column, it gives you that option. So if I go to Alteryx, so maybe we can just take one input over here, input data. This browse we already saw. If we can put one browse here, we can see the result coming from this particular tool. This is used to see your results only. Then filter is for your downstream, So over here you can specify your condition. Like I want to see the states equal to, let's say the state field is CO. Okay, it's only CO. I'll take maybe the region, and over here the region what we have is south or north. So if I type south, this is going to give you all the true results, means all the data for south region, and this will give you all other records which are not related to south region. Correct. The third tool what we just saw was related to formula. So in this scenario, what we can do is we can take formula over here, and maybe see if as soon as we dragged it, if you see like this screen appears over here, you have option to kind of select one existing column or you can add a new column. So if you want to select existing column, which means you are updating that field, right? That is what it was written in the document also. Formula create or update fields. So if you select one existing field, which means you can, whatever you write here, it is going to update the existing field. Correct? And in case you kind of add a new column, it's going to add a new field. So in any case you want to kind of add anything in your data set. So for example, you have total number of customers and average sales per customer. What if I kind of just multiply these two fields? We might get the same result as total sales, but we'll see that. So we'll say calculated sales. It's a column name. And over here, I will specify my columns. If you click on this particular X, capital X, you will get all the column names. So you can take it and type total customers into, I want to multiply this by average sales per customer, right? So this is the multiplication which happens for the total calculated sales. Now, as of now, the multiplication shows your data type as v underscore w string. If you're multiplying two numbers, what data type it should be? Any idea?
Sir, if it's numeric value, of course.
Right, it should be a numerical value, and most probably the data type should be either decimal or fonts, because over here your average sales per customer is a decimal number. Correct? But I have a question. My question is, by default, if you see, right, if you we are trying to multiply these two things, by default it is giving me W string. If I do so, let's see what happens. Okay, it worked perfectly fine, but the column, where is the calculated? Okay, you will get the result over here. Let me just put browse after this, then you will get the result. So this is the field what we just added over here, right? It is automatically coming in W string. You can convert this if you use auto filter, sorry, auto field here. It will automatically convert in the appropriate fields or data types. Okay, it's still coming in V string, but that's fine. You can just select and change it into float for better calculations. The decimal numbers, as of now, we selected 4. You can convert this into 2 if you wish. Okay, by default, it takes 4. But over here, if you see, you are not getting any decimal places now. Okay, so this was your formula. Over here, if you go and you can see different other functions also. See, you will have all different type of functions. It is related to suggested for this data type, absolute, floor, mod, and round. Then you have conditional formula like if else conditions. You can type your expressions the way we do it in Tableau or other tools. Then you have conversion type of formulas. So like bin to int, char from int. So that type of data conversion you can do. Then you have date time related formulas. So date time add, date time now. So remember I wanted one column which can give us current date time. So what you need to do is you need to simply add one more formula over here, and we'll say add column, and we'll say time. You just need to go there, take the function, and it should be related to time, date time. We can take date time now. I'll just take this and we'll run our workflow. It is going to add date time, which is at this moment 11:33 and 27 seconds. So that's how you can add or update existing field. So that two things are possible over here. And other than this, if you see, you have recent function, recent expression, or let's say you created some functions. So those will be possible over here.
Can you click on the date time calculated field?
Yes.
Okay, you just drag the function here. Okay.
Nothing else. I mean, nothing else is required, right? You just simply want the current date and time from the system.
Okay. Okay.
But the best practice will be like as soon as you drag, you need to define the data type. If you don't do that, right, later on in downstream process, you will have to change this data type, because by default it adds everything in v underscore w string. So let's say if I say date and run this, you are going to get date into this column. See, or let's see if we have only time. I don't think there would be. Okay, we have time. So this is the place wherein you can get exact time when you ran it on a day. Okay. So that these are the uses of your formula function. Other than this, I mean, you need to primarily focus on these functions because depending on the operation what you want, let's say if it is text, it is a string or any other thing, the formulas will change. So you need to know that which formula to use where. You can write your conditions, you can write your operators, minimum, maximum, all things are possible over here related to calculation. Okay, let me go back. Over here, the next one is like input. So input we have already used a lot over here also. So input, like you can get your data from your different data sources. Depending on your data source, what you use, whether it is Excel, SQL, or text file, these options will change, right? Any questions on these controls so far what we used? I mean, there is nothing new. We have already kind of, demoed or used these things in several situations.
No.
Okay, so I'll just go ahead and take another or the next tool which we have. So that is joins. Okay, this one is also like what we have already used, but it says combines two inputs based on a common commonality between the two tables. Its function is like a SQL join and but gives you the option of creating three output resulting from the join. Okay, so tell me one thing. Over here it says it can take only two inputs or it can join two data sets. What about you need to join maybe four or six tables? How will you do it?
We need to take multiple input here. Like if I'm taking three files or four files, then we can union all of them first, and after that we can put the join.
Okay, so we said that we want to join around four or six files. We are talking about joins, so union will not come in picture, right? You simply need to kind of at the place of one join, you will have to do multiple joins, right? Let's say at a time you can join only two tables, and if you got four tables, you will have to use, I think, three join components. First of all, no, I think only two join. If you got four tables, right? If you got four tables, first of all, you'll join first two and the second two, and whatever result you get, you can join those two results. So basically, three joins you will have to use. What I mean is,
Okay.
you got it right. What I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah. If we are getting more than two, right? Either it's three, either it's four. So we need to take three joins. Got
What I
it.
mean is, let's say you got four tables. So first of all, you will join these two. Then you will join these two. And whatever result you get, then you need to join this and this. So four tables, three joins. Because these will take only two input at a time, only left or right. Okay. Now, okay. Now let's go to the next one, output tool. So again, like input, your output tool also depends on the type of file which you want to take. So depending on your destination, the options over here will change, right? And we have kind of used it also in several scenarios, whether it was your SQL Server table or it is like Excel file, one workbook, or Excel file with multiple sheets. Now, sample. So regarding sample, we have two, three tools which are available. So it says that limit the data stream to a number, percentage, or random set of records. So basically, if you go to Alteryx and look for samples first of all, so if you see, you got sample in DB that we have not used it, but sample, create samples, over sample field, and random sample percentage. So out of these, generally we have used like this sample a lot. This sample, what it does, it gives you like first n row, last n row, skip first to n row, or one to every n row, one of every nth row. So these are the different kind of logics which you can use in order to select your random fields, right? Because you would not know like that which record it is going to take. Now another thing would be like if you see create samples, see, estimate sample percentage, validation sample percentage, and then random seed one. So over here, what it does, it will basically, let's say whatever percentage you define here, out of your population or the whole data, it will take that percentage only. So for example, if your actual data has 100 rows and you specify 50 over here, it is going to take only 50 records. You're getting right? Over here, you will not have any specific order the way you had over here. Like, is it the first rows, last rows, or any other criteria? It can be random percentage. Any questions here?
First one is sample, and after that, what is this?
This is
Create sample.
this one is create sample.
Not getting this one. What's the purpose?
Okay. Can you mute yourself? Yeah. All right. So basically, the purpose of first one is to create a direct sample out of these business logics, right? So both are used for sampling only. This one helps you in order to kind of create percentage samples, right? Over here, you are creating sample basis these business logics. In both cases, you will not know the individual record until unless that sample is ready. But what will happen here? It will take the records basis these logics, either the top 10 rows or last 10 rows. It will take like that. But over here, it will randomly select 35% of or whatever percentage we specify here. It will take those records and then validate it against this percentage, right? So again, uh, do you understand that what is the meaning of validation sample?
Validation is like after creating the sample, we can validate is it correct or not.
Right. Okay, so it's like that only. So whatever sample records you take, basically in machine learning, what happens? You create your training set and data set, right? Actually, we are going quite high now in machine learning. So you take your training set, training data set, and validation data set or test data set. So whatever sample you create, you kind of validate that against your overall population. So over here also, as soon as you kind of specify your uh, estimation sample percentage, it will create another set accordingly, right? And then random seed is basically it will increase the number of records, or maybe it can be a percentage or it can be number of records. So basis this, it will increase your number of records from your estimation to validation. So it says like,
Okay.
right, it says total number of estimation and validation percentages should be less than or equal to 100, right? Because you cannot take sample more than 100%. If the sum is less than 100, then the residual percentage is placed in the head out sample, sorry, hold out sample. Using the default setting, 34% of the records are in estimation sample, while the validation and hold out sample will have 33% of the data records each. So basically, 32% you are taking in estimation, 33 you are taking in validation. There would be remaining, I guess, 34, correct? Out of 100. If you add these two and subtract from 100, you will get around 30, 34 or 35, whatever, right? So those records will be kept into hold out sample. Hold out sample means that is not used anywhere, correct? That we are not
We are using this tool or rarely using or is using
it.
multiple
It is
times.
used only for the sampling, only for sampling. In case you want to move the complete data, neither this nor this, none of these will be used.
Uh,
Okay,
so like we are taking example like first five if we choose that, then is there any validation for this sample? If I want top five record
hmm,
or any record, is there any validation required here?
no. If you are
So
using
in
this,
which
see,
scenario it is used?
okay, these both tools
Any
work
example?
separately. No, no, just listen. These both tools work separately. Don't combine it. Okay, this works separately. Over here, you will simply take, top n, top 10, top 5, whatever you want, you can take and you can do your further operations. In case you go with this tool, this will go by percentage. There is nothing top 10 or top 5. It will simply take these many percentage of records and it will work on the sample. It is to create a smaller data set for your analytics purpose. Hope you understood.
Yes, yes. We can
Okay,
directly, if we are not going to choose first five, this sample only, yeah, we can directly connect from this. So it will
right,
work, right?
right. See,
Okay.
that is what I'm telling from the beginning. Any tool which you see here, these tools will be used individually. There is no relation between those two tools, like you need to use two tools in together. No. Depending on your requirement, you will drag a particular tool and use it. Each tool has its own use and importance. Getting? So
Okay.
never ever get confused with the combination of tools or the property of tools. Like if I have, this type of menu here under this, I will get something like the same over here. No. Each tool has its own property, own use, own characteristics. So don't try to kind of get confused or don't get confused with the properties of any tool with other tool. You might find similar options, but there would be a specific use related to that particular tool.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Now let's talk about this select one. So over here, if you see the select logo, tool for select logo is different. Over here, you will find select something like this. See, it's a tick mark, and over here it is. This is also a tick mark, but it is of little different kind of look and feel. There is a small circle in between. Right? So it says select, deselect, reorder, and rename fields, change field types or size, and assign a description. So this will be used. Let's say, okay, let me just connect some data over here. So over here you can see these are the fields coming from your input data set. And over here you have all type of different data types. You can change these data types. Then you have size, you can change the size, and you can change the description over here. You can put the comments, your comments, or in case you want to rename from address to something else, you can simply type your new name over here. So it's a complete data transformation on a column level. So you can change data type. You can select if you need that in output. You can deselect if you don't need in output. And accordingly, depending on your requirement, you can change data type and size. Okay. Then you have sort. So sort function, again, we used it. So we can kept it in between. And over here, it lets you sort.
In the case of select or auto filter tool, so there is a one difference in between both of them. We can change the data type in both of them, right? In auto field also and in select also. It's a data
No,
conversion.
no. The
What
difference is,
similarity?
the difference is, yeah, the difference, the diff, can you please put on mute? Yeah, the difference between auto tool and select tool is auto tool doesn't let you change anything. It automatically changes, right? Whatever this Alteryx understands, it automatically changes those data types. You will not be able to change anything. So over here, if you see, if I run it, yeah, over here, if you see, for this auto tool, it says the field type of some store number changed to string 5, address changed to v underscore string, city changed to v underscore string. So it automatically changes. It doesn't allow us to change, right? Over here in select tool, it allows us to change length as well as data type. So that's the difference. And now the common thing is in both places, you can select which columns you want to take as an output. That checkbox you have. Got it?
Okay, similarity between the columns, but in select tool we can change the size and data type.
Right. Now again, few things are still there. If you see here auto tools, if you clear everything, let's say auto tool works only for string fields. See, select string fields to auto change field type. Over here, you don't get the data type and you are not getting all the fields. You have these many fields in your data. You are getting only the fields which are for string. See, even zip, it has been changed to int32. So the fields which were part of your data and they were in string format, only those will be shown into auto tools. So what happens? I mean, let me tell you the scenario. Like sometimes you get your data in notepad or text files. So what happens in those scenarios? All of the data type related to your data will be in text, correct? Now auto tool helps you in those scenarios wherein you would like to change your some integer fields which are kind of coming as a text. This tool will automatically convert those. So that is what it is doing here. For example, zip, it was coming as a text. Now it has converted this into integer 32. Correct? It only captures the string fields and changes the data type. But select tool helps you to change data type related to all the fields or any field, whichever you want out of your data. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Now let's move ahead. Sort. Okay. Sorting, we saw that we can select a particular column, whether it is a measure type or dimension type, and we can put it like ascending or descending order. So in your result, the data will appear like that. So over here we selected sales, and accordingly, okay, what did we do? We took total sales and ascending order, which means total sales, this field you get into ascending order. I hope it is sorted, right? Do you see any discrepancy? No, it's sorted properly. Okay. The next tool is summarize. So it says summarize by grouping, summing, counting, spatial processing, string concatenation, and much more. The output contains only the results of the calculation. So over here, basically, let's say out of this data you want to summarize. Let's say you want to summarize the data. Out after this, so you'll just take this particular control, add browse after this, and over here you need to define or configure this, that on what basis you want to summarize. So we have already seen like whatever field you want to kind of see in the result. First of all, choose and add that. How you want to add it? Maybe by group name. Sorry, maybe you want to group by on that. So like group by, you can take some other fields, for example, region. And then you can take your measures. You can take maybe sum, count, whichever you want. So that's how you can take the summary of your data. And as soon as you do it, you kind of get your results over here. City, state, region, and then sales summary with the columns which we selected. Now, one more thing here, if you see, like if you go on add, you have some other options here, like finance related functions, numerical related functions. So like, first of all, let's say if you are, you have added these many columns and you want to change the order, right? For example, if you see, first of all, you have city, state, region. Maybe you would like to kind of have your region first of all, first column, or then state and then city. So in that case, you can simply go here, right? Take your region as first, then your state, and then city, and then your total sales, credit sales, and average sales per customer. My point was like over here, if you see, you have minimum, maximum, first, last. What is the meaning of this first and last? Any idea about this first and last?
Top value. First
Can
means
you,
top value.
first means top. Okay, so basically what will happen over here, let's select first for a particular moment. So over here, you are getting data north, south, all that, right? Starting from north. What I'll do, I'll just go ahead and on this particular thing for region, I will take it as first and then we'll run this. So what will happen all across, see, nothing happened this time. You are still getting your data in the same scenario. I hope it was first. Yeah. So it says first region, north. What happened? Nothing happened over here. Shikha?
Okay.
Or
But
maybe let's go ahead and let's
but
go
it
ahead
works for
and
numeric value, not reason. Reason
no
is
no
a
no.
string value.
It will work with string also. The only thing is for a particular category it chooses one, chooses the first. right? So if I selected city, then let's see what happens. So now if you see over here, you are getting only 2 records. And what happened under that region, whichever your first city was, it has given you only that result. Sorry, north and south. In both the conditions, north and south, whichever was the first city, it has given you those results. Superior and Denver. It will always work in a hierarchy or in some categories. You getting this point? What I
Yes.
mean is, right? What I mean is, under region or state, see, even if I go by state, state has only one value. If I'll do, first, it will give me all the records. But in case of city, I have multiple values. And if I select first, it will pick up just the first, city of both the regions, and accordingly, it will give me the result. So there has to be a grouping and hierarchy basis which it returns the result. Same goes with the last option. So you have first, then you have last. See, if you run this, you'll get the last value of the city in both regions. So it's Westminster and then Aurora. Whatever order we have, it is giving the last. Okay. Now,
But
now
why it was not working for reason?
see, region is the very first category, right? It needs a grouping first. First of all, on the first column, it will not work. What I mean is, if let's say you bring this city on the first column now,
It will
correct?
not work.
It
Okay.
will not work. So there has to be a grouping first, and then you can apply this first and last on subsequent columns. Okay. One more question. Over here, it is mode. What is mode? And even I can see mode there is twice.
Yeah, mode is basically where we get the maximum number of times going repeat any value. Uh,
Actually, your answer is correct. Let's see. So this time, the value of this city has been changed. Okay. Are we taking anything else? It is just the mode. So it's giving that on north and south. I think Aurora is maximum time being repeated for south region, and Lakewood cities has been kind of used a lot for north region. Let's do one thing. Um, I will go ahead and add one more field, city. Can we add it? And I want count of city. Okay. And this time I will take just group by. I will not take mode. So what will happen? We'll get the count of cities in the complete data. See over here, Aurora in south has been repeated maximum, and Westminster and Lakewood City for north region. So for these both, your frequency is same. So because we selected last, no, when we selected last, we were getting Westminster, and as soon as we converted into mode, it was giving us the Lakewood City. So maybe because it comes as first, because yeah, our sales is in sorting order, so this will come first and it is picking up Lakewood City. Right. Similarly, you can apply other options also.
so mode is not working like that, like repeating items
It
maximum
is
number
work.
of times.
It is working like that only. Yeah. Can you just put yourself on mute, Srika? I mean, actually, a lot of noise we get. Yeah. So it is working like a mode only. The maximum, occurrences. The only thing is at the place of giving the count, it is giving me the actual value. that which value is repeating maximum. In case of north data, there was a conflict. Conflict is like your Lakewood city is also twice and your Westminster city is also twice. So these both are the mode. Now it, depending on your order, either it will give you Lakewood city or it will give you Westminster, because both satisfy the condition of mode. But in case of south, it is very clear that Aurora is going to be the value because it is the maximum count, and it's not kind of, there is no other city which has the same count. So let me just go ahead and look for some other values over here. First, minimum, max, first, last we saw. Then financial formulas are there, functions are there. Let's just look for concatenation. So if it is city, let's see what happens. Store number, concatenate. So over here, what it is happening, basis grouping, let's say you are getting 2, 3 store numbers. Maybe, let's say for the combination of your region, state, and city. For this combination, let's say there are multiple store numbers. Maybe for this combination, let's say there are 3 stores. So what will happen over here? It will give you the combination of those store numbers. So for example, here it is giving you within the comma 2 store numbers, which means for this combination you got 2 states. See, 2 is there, 2 stores. Even for this you will get 2. So if you kind of explore this, 2 stores are there. For this there are 5, so that's why you're getting 5, which means it is just concatenating the occurrences of this particular store number. Okay, now let's go back to, okay, in summarization we saw a couple of things. There are still a lot of functions which you can go ahead and explore, like financial functions, string function, date function that we have not seen yet, but you can always go back and explore these. Now comment, so this is kind of add annotation or image to the module. Canvas to capture notes or explain processes for later reference. So basically over here, if you go by comment, this one, so it's a kind of annotation, right? You can just put your text over here, ABC, and that will always be there on the screen for you. So that for you or for other users, whoever want to revisit your workflow, they will know that exactly what this workflow does or what operation you are trying to do over here. The same thing can be done using your annotations. If you select a particular tool, you can put your comment over here also. So this annotation is for your particular tool. See, ABC is here now, and this comment is a kind of annotation. This is applicable to the complete workflow. So you understand the difference between tool specific annotation and workflow specific annotation. Both are the text fields. You can provide the description of a particular tool or a workflow depending on what you use here. I think it should be straightforward. So then you have text input, right? As of now, we worked with the input control. This is related to text input. Now it says manually add data which will be stored in the module, which means, let's say if I take text input, it will allow user to kind of write your data over here, right? Write your data means you can enter your data in rows and columns manually, which means, let's say this is my name field. Over here, I can type different names. Okay, and then you can give your rank or number, whatever you want. right? So it's on that portion. Now what will happen as soon as you connect this particular tool with your output, browse or anything, you can directly go ahead and use it as your data itself. So you can see your data. This is what we manually added, but still we can see this and we can use it like as a normal data set. We can work on it. The best part of this is, let's say you have some data in your Excel file. For example, if I go, okay, so let's say if this is the data, I'll just copy some of the fields, right? You can come back to Alteryx and paste that data over here. See? So either you enter it manually, copy it from somewhere, it will work exactly the same as your other data sources work. Now you can apply the same operations. Any calculation, joins, union, everything. Directory, it inputs a list of file names and attributes from a specified directory. So this is also we have seen, right? Any questions on directory? Autofilled we have used already, that it helps you in order to kind of change your data for string type.
So
So
it's not usable. These are two XDF input and output.
I will not say that it is not usable. It is usable, but there is a specific domain of machine learning for that. It will not be used in the normal data scenarios or ETL scenarios.
Okay, okay.
Okay. It will only be used in case of machine learning related projects.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so the next one, these tools are related to the data preparation. So auto tool, we already saw, and it is only for the string fields. So that's why it has mentioned over here. Filter, it provides two outputs. So that is also we saw. Now date filter, this we have not used yet. The date filter macro is designed to allow a user to easily filter data based on date criteria. Do we have it here? We don't have date filter, correct? Which means it might be in the old format, but it has been deprecated. So date filter, if I type, don't get anything related to date filter. You have other filters. So I believe if you take this filter, you should be able to use dates also over here. So like order date, yes. So they might have kind of combined your date filter with within this filter. Okay, what date I choose? We didn't get any result. Okay, it's okay. So this time you have result for both true and false conditions. Okay, so you can filter your data also using this only, and the a tool specifically for date might have been deprecated. Formula we used, generate rows. Okay, let's see this one, generate rows. Generate rows. Any idea what it will do, or why is this used for? There are a couple of things over here. If you see any other tool they have green color, tail and arrow, correct? But for this particular tool, one of them is white and another is green. What's the difference? Guys, tell me. What's the difference between white input and green input?
Green is the output, not input.
No, over here, if you see for any other object, let's say this one, both are green, right? Input and output. So that's what my question is. What's the difference between green input and white input?
This is generator, right?
Yes.
No idea.
Okay. So basic, yeah. Yeah. Can you please put on mute? Okay. So this white input basically says that it is optional. If it is white, which means it is optional. If it is green, it is mandatory. So in case of white, I mean, we have option, we can connect it, or if you don't want, still we'll be able to run it after configuring, right? So over here, let's say it has a kind of, equation or kind of loop for which it will run. So it says row count. Let's say there is a field which I want to create. It's a row count field which I want to create as an integer type. And initialization expression is 1. Row count, I want to run it for less than or equal to 10. Okay, let's see if you change any number over here. This is the looping function, what it is going to execute. So if you run it and put your browse icon over here, I'll just delete all these things. Okay, we'll run it. Let's see what happens. So if you see here, it says 1 at a time. Let me just change this formula. The reason being, I said less than or equal to 10 and I given here 10 directly. So it in first loop only it will complete. So if I just change it, so this time your loop will go up to 10 times until unless this number is not less than or equal to 100. This is simple loop. You are generating records basis a loop. So it is showing you that data. Now it is showing the execution record of this. Similarly, you can apply this loop on some other field. So those things are kind of possible over here. So maybe if you say updating existing field, okay, that is disabled at this moment. Let's take some other data type or maybe some other formula over here. Let's say if I say into 10 and over here I'll give, let's say, some random number. If I run this time, okay, does not fit. So these are the rows which it has generated, right? It will help you in case of looping concepts.
There is no option for each loop container, not container. There is no any looping concept apart from this for loop and all in all.
You can no as we go into macros, there would be more options. Okay, in macros we'll see that, or analytical apps. Basically, an analytical app and macros are very close. There are a lot of similarities. and they are kind of created on top of your workflows only. The basic workflows what we are working on. So we'll go ahead and see the next tool, which is impute values. Any idea about impute values?
Already, right? It
Pardon?
will replace with null value.
In, that is one of the use case scenarios, right? Over here, it says update specific values in a numerical data field with another selected value, useful for replacing null values. So basically, if you read this sentence, it is simply find and replace for numerical values. Okay, you select a value or you find a value and you replace that. As a use case, it will be helpful if, let's say, there are null values in your data and you want to replace that. You can use this function and replace all your null values by some other value. Correct? That's a use case example. What you can do is you can directly go to Alteryx, go to help, and from here you just choose one by one option. Connecting to data, viewing your data, then go to transform your data, and then try one by one. It will help you, number one, to learn all the tools, and number two, it will help you to see all the options which are there in different tools.